and you tell me you're 6'2", buddy, I am 5'9", I will know.
Why do guys lie about their height? You cannot change it. Just let it be. Guys, welcome to Woke and Pretty. I'm your girl, Meera. I'm here with my bestie, Min.
Yeah.
And we're talking about dating today. Guys, it is crazy. I haven't dated in 100 years because I've been with my husband.
The queen of dating.
For like 11 or 12 years. And back then when we met, he was like the first guy I met on Match.com. And I honestly was like so grateful that I ended it, because obviously at that time, back in 2010, 2011, 2012, like online dating had become normal, but it wasn't as normal as it is now. And I think the only way to date people outside of knowing people.
You totally skipped away from the swiping right and swiping left. Good for
you.
Do
you want to know my Tinder? When Tinder came out, somebody told me about it, and I was still dating my husband, and he was my boyfriend at the time, and I downloaded it just to see what it was like, because I didn't understand. And now I have that stupid thing. You know how like when you have the iCloud, it always says you just have to update or just download it, because I deleted it, but it didn't fully delete, so they know I've downloaded it. Never want my husband to see that. Next thing he thinks I'm skipping out on him. But even back then, I was cautious about dating online, especially because we didn't know people. And I was already meeting so many people in person, being out and about in Manhattan, and through work and through connections, that it wasn't like it is now. And there's been conversations that Min and I have had that I thought it would be a really great idea to have this topic about dating tips, but really geared towards safety, because it's something that you said, Min, the other day that made me really think, like, all of my girlfriends are single, they are dating or not dating, depending on how they feel, because it's like another job. And I felt that way back when, but I am so out of touch of what's happening now in 2023 with the dating world and the safety measures. You hear so many horror stories. In an episode previously, you talked about the girl that went on
I don't even think that hit the episode, actually. She went on a Tinder date. I was listening to a podcast episode. It was a true crime podcast episode, I think. I don't remember. Guys, I listened to so many podcasts. I can't keep them straight. Anyways, I was listening to a podcast episode. This girl had gone on a Tinder date. She wasn't really feeling it with the guy. But she wasn't really sure. But she knew something was off. So she ended the date. She went home. She told her girlfriend she was going home. Her girlfriends were like quote unquote tracking her. Like, how's the date going? Things like that. She told her girlfriend in the car that there was something she felt off. Her girlfriend told her to take a different route home. And she was like, no. And in her rearview mirror, she felt like somebody was like following her. And anyway, she ignored it. She got home, she did her thing, she went to sleep, but she felt like she was in a really deep sleep. It wasn't similar to what she would normally have done. She woke up in the middle of the sleep hearing noises downstairs in her house and was very confused. And so she had thought somebody had broken in. She called the cops. They came to the door. They got her out of the situation. And when the cops questioned her, the guy had set up basically a torture chamber, I guess is the best way to describe it. And the cop had basically said, you don't want to see what he had done. And I don't remember this, again, this episode was so long ago when I heard it, but the cop had said, you don't want to see, and you don't want to know. But he was basically from the sounds of it, he followed her home. He got into her house and he was probably going to kill her that night.
Yeah.
That's the dating story. That's the dating story we're talking about, right?
So that story that you told me really had my antenna up, because it's one thing to be like, oh, emergency call from your girlfriend. Oh yeah, I'm home. And now you can check on your friends with the Find Your Friend or whatever you track. And you're like, oh, they're home, so they're safe. But in this instance, she wasn't safe. And you know what? I think about this story, and would I have gone downstairs to see what was happening or peeked out my door? I might have, versus just calling the cops right away. So she followed her instincts in that moment, but she didn't follow her instincts when she felt like something was off with the guy, and she went home, even though her friend told her to lose the guy or whatever. So that conversation that you and I had, which I think was probably offline, so it's not an episode, you're right. So I'm glad you relayed the story here and really got us going on about the dating. And Min is obviously, dating, questionable, whatever her life is, which we can bring in her expertise for modern dating in 2023. So my first thing about dating, okay, I don't know anything anymore. What I thought I knew is so different than what I hear now.
The landscape has
not,
definitely changed from 2012. I will say that.
Yeah. And on talkify.com, TAWIFY.com, they actually say this as well. Dating etiquette isn't clear cut anymore. What you think or your parents think is the way to date or what men should do and women should do, that is not even a thing anymore.
No.
That is, do not even expect those niceties. There's a whole new etiquette in town. Min, what are your thoughts on that? Tell me about it, because I don't know nothing, girl.
Okay. One, you need your own set of boundaries. If I go on a date, first of all, if we match, I have a short fuse, man. So
First of all,
if we match,
who's calling who? Is there even a phone call, or is it just like a message and then you go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
let me date, girl. Again, it has changed. Okay.
I made sure
you can connect your dating apps to your social media apps.
No, I don't want them to know about my social media.
So that's one. And so you don't have to do it, but it is possible to do it. So it freaks me out a little bit more in the sense that I tried it one time and I was like, now who I know
everything about you. Ooh,
yeah. And listen, my kids are all older, but even still, I'm still mama bear. I'm going to be very protective. So I obviously stopped that right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a very short fuse in regards to, if we match, you have 24 hours to ask me out. I don't care if you don't like it, but legitimately, I'm not doing the texting back and forth because you know what? I'm not getting chemistry through a text message. You have 24 hours. This doesn't mean that we need to see each other in 24 hours, but if you haven't solidified a date in 24 hours, you go to a land that I like to call Neverland. Never ever contact me again and never ever match with me again because game over. So that's one.
Way back when, I was like, I need to talk to the person on the phone first. I need to hear their voice.
It's probably a smarter idea. We don't do that.
I don't know if people would go for it now because a lot of these people don't like to be on the phone anymore. My age group, we can still be on the phone, guys. So I'm okay with that. But I made sure I spoke to every single person that I was talking to. If we were having such a great conversation, I was like, hey, here's my number. Can you call me? And I'm gonna tell you right now, my husband don't even know this, so hopefully listen to this episode. He wasn't the first guy I spoke to. I spoke to a couple guys. Did I meet up with them? No. Here's why. One of them I had a great conversation with. It went on for a week. We made plans. Crickets for the whole day. Okay.
Shocker.
Then he texted me, oh, I had to go into work. I'm late, blah, blah. Can we do later tonight? And I'm like,
it takes 30 seconds to send me a text. I'm sorry if you didn't have the energy. Nope.
You had the time to call me all this time throughout the week, but yet you couldn't tell me you had to go into work. And I literally was like sitting around waiting because I had plans with you, I thought. Mm-hmm. Never gave him a second chance after that. Then, of course, he was like, oh, what went wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, I don't care. That's literally you're not for me.
Conversation.
You're not for me. So that was my first experience there.
Smart.
My second experience was this guy that I thought was great, but then New Jersey, I don't even know where. And I was like, not really my type. You're a teacher. And you're like, the looks was not my type. But I was like, let me give people a chance. I was being very open-minded. By the way, I wouldn't respond to anybody unless they had a full profile filled out. If I took the time to fill out a profile and be good about my pictures and stuff, I cared about the process, but I really wanted to meet somebody. I want somebody who really wants to meet somebody too. So that's me. That's how I thought. This is 12 years ago. When I got this second guy on the phone, immediate no with the accent. Immediate no. The accent was a Jersey accent. I'm sorry. Don't come for me. I don't care. I know we got a New York accent. We got a Brooklyn accent. You got the Long Island accent. You got the Queens accent. I can't deal with your accent, sir. You're basically Staten Island, Jersey. I couldn't. And I was like, it's a hard no for me. I don't care how great you are. We talked on the phone once, even though we had great conversation leading up to that. And I didn't waste my time in person. And guess what? I think he probably felt the same. Cool. Moving on. My husband is not a phone person. He will not talk to anyone on the phone unless it's for work. And it's literally, okay, bye. So antisocial. He's also a terrible texter. His communication is so bad. I'm happy to say it's still the same. So it wasn't just because of me. Okay. Despite these hurdles, he still got on the phone with me because I thought his profile was funny. He wasn't a typical guy I would normally date. To me, he filled out the profile. I laughed. His message to me was, back then you could email. It wasn't like just messenger back then, guys. So he emailed me and it was a full out email. Proper grammar. I was impressed. It didn't take much. And I laughed at the end when I read his profile. At the end, I was laughing. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this guy a shot. He's not my typical guy. I don't, he's not like somebody I would normally go for. And on the first date, and then we got on the phone and he was like, hey, I was like, oh, let's talk on the phone, thinking, oh, I'm ready for a nice long conversation. Hi, this is Greg. Are you available on Tuesday? How about this time? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, how are you? So and good. Okay. All right. I'll see you on Tuesday at this place. And that was it. And I was like, mother effer. Like, of course, again, I'm happy to report nothing has changed. He's still that awkward about all of it, but I have
So
found
cute.
ways to get over it and still continue a relationship with him, especially in the early stages where that was difficult. And I've come to realize that's just him. I didn't want to change him, but I just know that I'm more of a communicator than him. And that's fine. Yeah, the phone call was a big thing for me, a really big thing for me. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to get away with it now if I was dating now.
Yeah, we've talked about him a couple of times. I'm seeing someone and I find it weird when he calls me.
Why?
It's the state of dating you guys.
Because you're used, a text would have sufficed.
Yes, you know what's funny? Yes, a text would have sufficed, but he called on a daily, which is also weird.
Like before or now?
No, like even when we were just seeing each other, and yeah, like now, yeah,
He's checking in on you.
It's weird.
But like an actual everyday phone call?
He does it in his car because he's on his way to work, which it's, and again, I do it too. I do it too. It's funny that we're on the same, but yeah. So he'll be on his way to work. It's about a half-hour drive and we have a full half-hour long conversation.
Oh, cute. I do that to my sister every day.
But here's what I like is that one, before this guy, I dated another guy. And if you listen to my podcast episode, I named him K. I never talked to K on the phone. 90% of our messages were over text messages, or 90% of our communication was over text message.
And how long
did
you date K for?
Frustrate me. 8 months.
Oh, look at you manifesting hard. I want somebody to talk on the phone with, and now you getting it, girl.
I know. And it used to really frustrate me because I was like, and when we would get into a tiff or when I would have an insecurity that I needed to be talked down from, I wouldn't get a phone call. It would be a text message. And it was really frustrating because I was like,
yeah,
there's no emotion through a blue bubble. It wasn't even a blue bubble. It was green.
Guys, let's not get into Android Apple debate. I have that one friend, guys, in my friend group. The one friend that ruins it for everybody. They get a kick out of it.
Our kid family, like me, my brother, my sister and I have iPhones, and we keep trying to get him to jump on the iPhone. Anyways, another conversation for another time. It was a green bubble, but there's no emotion. Whereas a couple of nights back, I had said to my boob saying that I was having some insecurity about a situation, and literally, I don't even think he finished the text message before he started calling my phone, being like, talk to me, what's going on? Oh,
that's intense.
Yeah. So first of all, yes. So the dating landscape has changed. I don't know if you would get a phone call nowadays before you met up. Also, anyway, I have a thing about giving out my number.
Yeah, and I think now it's hard, but you could easily find people's number if you search their names online or search stuff on them. White pages, guys. I think the important thing that Min and I are trying to say here is that you need to meet people in real life. Okay. Yes. Don't just stick to the messages.
Have boundaries. The other thing too is that if I go on a date, I don't go to a random place anymore, for sure.
Okay.
I go to a place where I know the staff a little bit. I've lived in Ottawa for a few years. I've bartended, I've served, and I still know staff in the industry, or I know of people still in the whatever. And I will go to a place where I feel very secure and I know that things aren't going to be tampered with, because drugs are very easy to get a hold of. And we know the date rape drug moves very quickly. If I'm going to go to a place and there's a potential of him tampering with what I'm going to ingest, I want to make sure that the guy on the other end who's making said drink is going to watch over.
Because they're familiar with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what.
What else tips do you have?
I never take the same route home ever from said location, or I will leave long after he leaves. Or long before he leaves. Yeah.
If you take a different route home, though, you're still going to the same destination. That person could still follow you home. Do you know what I
Sometimes
mean?
what I'll do is I'll stop by a girlfriend's place
Yeah, I like that.
and I'll stay there for an hour, a couple of hours. We'll recap on the date. I'll drink coffee. I'll have
Love
another
that.
glass of wine. I
Your
won't.
original story with that girl,
That's what terrified me.
like, it's terrifying, but it's terrifying because her friends think she's home safe. You know what I mean?
Where
Like,
you let your guard down. Like my brother-in-law is a cop and he has said, like, you know what happens? 95% of the accidents, I'm making that statistic up. I don't know if it's 95. I just remember him saying most of the stuff that happens is within 7 kilometers of your house because your guard is so far down the
so
closer you get to
down.
home.
Mhm.
And he's like, this is why home accidents happen is because your guard is down. This is where you're safe. Yeah. The other thing too, that like when I start dating someone, they don't come in and they don't get up here. They don't see this.
No. That's another thing about the etiquette. Back in the day, it used to be like, oh, should I sleep with him after 5 dates? Or now it's, man, you do whatever you want, but
You
you got to be
do.
safe. You got
You
to be
have to be safe
safe.
about it. One, if stuff's going to go down, it's not going down here. One of the things I really learned.
Would you
and
rather
this
go
is
to
a
his
little
place?
bit of yes.
It's a hard one. It's a hard
It's
one
a hard
because
one because you also this
you
doesn't
don't know what you're
happen in
getting
the
into.
morning. Okay.
No, it's
And
not
this
even
needs
that.
work
You
at
don't know what
night.
you're getting into at
No,
their
you don't
place.
know what you're getting into. I depend heavily on my instincts when I'm ready to take that step with somebody. So
I
I'm
know, that's
hoping
the
that I've
thing.
vetted them enough.
You could go to their house, and what
right.
if there's
I
like
don't
other
know.
people there waiting for you? You know what I'm saying? What if you're kidnapped? What if you're oh my God, I can't.
It is a scary world in dating out there. It is. But I also one of my girlfriends way back in the day, she wasn't a girlfriend, she's more like a mentor, way back in the day told me this because she was living on her own. And I was asking her how dating was going, and she was seeing this guy and she went over to his house and I was like, oh, he doesn't come over to yours? And she was like, oh no. She's that's my sanctuary. Crap's gonna go down. I'd rather have I don't need a man disrupting my place and him building memories in here that I now need to remember. Forget it. Stuff's gonna happen. He can have those memories. I don't have to
If
sit
he's a
on my couch.
creeper, if he's a creeper, he's not going to want you in his space, most likely. Because what are you going to find?
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I first went to my husband's place, I was like, because he's not the typical, listen, I'm going to tell you my whole history, but I'm like, I'm going to this guy's place that I met online. And it was weird. He lived in the middle of Manhattan. It was not anything crazy. 5-floor walk up, guys. But we're in his place. I'm like, oh, so he really is a doctor? Or he could just be staging all these. This is how suspicious I am. All these books here could be fake. Like he could have bought these books to make it look like he's a resident doctor and he has an IV drip in his room. That's totally fake. Like in my mind, oh my God, he would die if he heard this episode. I hope never listen to this episode.
Hold on, your husband had an IV drip in his room?
Tell me about it. I asked him about it like months later because I was like, I don't want to know.
Was it from
I guess he got drunk one time.
Bag? Yeah.
He was drunk one time and dehydrated and he had the IV drip to give him the whatever to make him feel better to go to work or something. Apparently it's a thing that they do. I don't know. But yeah, I was suspect though. I was. Even now, sometimes I'm like, oh, you really are a doctor. Oh, you do have a. Now I still think that. And I'm married to him. Not that I doubt that he's a doctor. I know he's a doctor, guys.
I get it.
It's not that. It's not that. It's just you never know about people sometimes. And my radar is always up.
Yeah, I get that.
I think the most important thing is follow your instincts. People tend to talk themselves out of instincts all the time. When your sixth sense is telling you something, some people have such an overdeveloped sense of sixth sense and they trust it because it's telling them something. And most people tend to be like, oh, it's not that. And you literally push that sense down so much that it's almost like if you don't know good food and you've never tasted all kinds of cultural food and stuff like that, you're not going to have a great developed palate because you're so used to what you're used to. It's not developed. And that's what that sense is. The more you trust it and it's instinctual and you don't second guess it, you move on. You can eat mushrooms, man, and you could tell yourself it's coffee beans and you would believe it's coffee beans at some point because you keep telling yourself that. I'm just saying you got to follow your sixth sense. But I do want to talk more about your stuff, but I want to say this in the middle of the episode and at the end of the episode. RAINN.org, RAINN.org. And they are really important here because it is Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. It's the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. And so there's a hotline there. If there's assault, they're in partnership with thousands of local cell service providers across the country, and they do have a safe house or safe hotline or helpline if you needed it. But I'm going to go through some of their safety tips after we're done with the conversation, just so anyone listening can protect themselves, and you too, since you're in a dating world. Hopefully we do a lot of it already, but I always get taken in by the alarm on your keys, like the piercing sound or whatever, but I don't carry keys with me. And that's the thing, I carry my wallet. Do you want to know? I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and it's not the safest place back in the day. And when I came up here to the nice suburbs of Westchester, I got a freaking mace, a can of mace from a client. She gave it to me because I told her I wasn't feeling safe walking to the train station. My town is so small. It's not even that big a deal. I got from the train to the parking lot. It's not even like a couple minutes. But I was like, it's dark up here. And I don't know. And so she got me a can of mace. And I would carry it in my hand. And I was like, I'm more likely to get attacked in Brooklyn, New York than up here. But I don't know. You never know, guys. Unfamiliar.
You trust your instincts. Trust your instincts heavily.
I did. I got them. I would carry it. I'd be like, how do you use it? Hold it. Just in case somebody came up me. Don't care.
Also, I don't care how uncomfortable the man is and he doesn't want to go to X location. Like, those to me are red flags. If you don't want to go, like, why? And if he's like, rather go here because they have better cocktails or whatever. Okay, but this isn't about you. Don't care.
But
and
most
to
men
me,
won't
like,
care.
and the other thing too is that I heavily hesitate. I know that some girls are like, no, if we're going out, you need to feed me. And listen, food, I love food, but I don't like, if I don't like you in 5 minutes, now I have to share a dinner with you.
That's a long time.
You just totally ruined my eating experience.
What's your fastest date? Have you ever met someone in real life and then you're like, it's not going to work, and you pieced out and it was like 5 minutes?
Yeah, I sat down, I ordered wine, and I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't even say I'm sorry. He was a jerk. I was just like, no, I can't. I gotta go. And I left. I don't even think I took a sip of the wine. Yeah.
Wow, was that bad, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But then I've also had horrible dates where I'm like, oh my God, this is never gonna end. And I had to, I snuck to the bathroom and I like called a girlfriend. I was like, you need to call me in 5 minutes to get me the F out of here because I'm going to lose my mind. If he orders another beer, I may lose it. You got to get me out of here. Yeah. And this is also the reason why I go now to places that they know me. Because then I can be like, okay, like I can give a signal and they can either put things in place for me.
That's pretty nice.
But yes, go to a place that you are extremely comfortable. Also, I don't want to hear about my girls being in danger, right? So go to a place so that you know your drinks, your food, things aren't being tampered with, because there's only so much you can control in that kind of environment. And he can change a lot. And then
or his friend in the back.
Or his friend. Yeah, you don't know what can happen. The other thing I tell my girlfriends is that watch everything. Watch your drink. Don't leave it because you're going to the bathroom. Either finish it and then order a new one, or don't touch it again and get a new one.
What if you're drinking a drink and you finish it to go to the bathroom and be like, oh, I'll be right back, and he orders you the same one?
I don't touch it. I ask for a new one. I literally will say, I'm sorry, I need to see the drink being made in front of me.
Good for you. I love that. Guys, if you're a good guy and you don't do these things, you're probably like shocked and what is she doing? But it's,
and if you
we have to protect ourselves.
Then that to me is a red flag. The other thing I don't put up with anymore is don't show up late. I'm going to tell you right now, I could be 5 minutes late. I could be 30 minutes late. If you aren't at that door, sitting at the bar, chilling, having already drinks, guess what? Sorry, dude.
What's your grace period?
I don't have a grace period. There's no grace period.
Are you perpetually late or are you on time?
No, I'm probably a little early sometimes. No, lately I've been like super late lately. But my life is slowly. I also say this, like when we're in the talking stage on an app, I will say my life is a hot mess at the moment, because it is. I'm building a business. I have kids who are moving out on their own. So I sometimes will be like, just so you know, if stuff comes up, like I may need to cancel on you a last minute because stuff still comes up. I'm still a mom. I still have my business. My clients still matter. You are paying my bills. So it's also a good way to weed out
people who are not going to invest the time. Yeah. No, I get that.
So, yes. So there's that. But yeah, there's no grace period in regards to, I try really hard if I'm going to show up for a date or if I need to cancel the last minute, I will try really hard to like let them know as early as possible. And then I try really hard not to show up late. But yeah. And then you also don't get to comment on how I look when I show up. So if it's no makeup and you're getting glasses today, guess what? You won the lottery.
What if they say you look beautiful?
I thank them.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean they
I'm
can't make a comment about your looks, period, unless it's complimentary or whatever.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's whoever does that is a douchebag. Come on, bro. Yeah. What if I comment on your bald spot?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't spray it for me today? You didn't get a toupee?
And then when you lie about the superficial stuff for me, I'm just like, what?
What's the superficial?
If you're 5'11" and you tell me you're 6'2", buddy, I am 5'9", I will know.
Why do guys lie about their height? You cannot change it. Just let it be.
My question is, if you're going to lie about your height, at some point in time, you have to pay the piper. And guess what?
Girls never lie about their height.
I will figure that. I can figure that stuff out pretty quickly.
But girls never lie about their height. Okay. Just for guys out there, who would ever lie about their height? Girls lie about their weight. So that's what it is. So if you see a girl that's 5'9" and you yourself are 5'9" saying you're 5'11", don't date her if it's going to be a problem. Don't date her. Like, seriously, it's not worth it.
No, it's not. It's not. And then also too, again, all these things usually sometimes get weeded out in like the 24 hours. If they're like, oh, you know what I can't stand, girl? The worst. This is when you know that you're so poorly educated, I guess is the best word I can come up with at the moment. Don't ask me where I'm from, because my answer to you will be Canada. Because you sound like an idiot.
Did you ever see, there was a commercial a while back, and it was like in England, and it was an Asian woman stretching in like the countryside. Like she was a runner. And then the white dude running like stopped, and he was like huffing and puffing. He goes, oh, so and she like made a comment. He goes, where are you from? And she's, oh, I'm from whatever area. Do you ever see this commercial?
No.
And he's like, no, but where are you from? And she goes, I'm from whatever, like this town. And he's like, no, where's your parents from? They're also from that town. And he goes, but like, where are they from? And she goes, if you're asking about my origin of so-and-so, my grandparents are from, I think she said maybe Korea. And he was like, oh my God, I love Thai food. Like he's just was. And then she turned it around on him and did the same thing. So where are you from? And he's, oh, I'm from this town. And she's like, but where are your parents from? Yeah. But where are you from? Where are they from? And he goes, I don't know, Europe. And she's, but where? And he just was like looking at her like, yeah, that you should watch. God, why don't I ever remember what these things are for? But they make an impact on me, but I don't remember the brand. Yeah. Sorry. I work in advertising, guys. I don't need to.
So you see a lot, right? Say this when I listen to podcasts. Yeah, I don't. Figure another way to ask me what my ethnicity is.
Or just don't ask. It'll come up because it is who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people always wonder, like when I was a hot dish back in the day, people would always wonder, depending on my how my hair was. My hair is really dark now, but I used to have all the different kinds of hair. It would be very ambiguous because they'd think I was like Hispanic or what country or this. And a lot of people don't think I'm Caribbean because they think Caribbean's mostly Black descent. And I'm like, well, you're already uneducated by knowing that, because you would know 40% of the population of most countries there are Indian descent, but you don't know that. But it's just, I don't, and they would obviously, if some people would assume I'm Indian, and I'm like, you guys, it just really should not be a conversation. No. Yeah. No. But you and I both know there's people who fetishize like our type and whatever.
So again, if that comes up during our conversation and I find out that you
how about just not
for Asian women, thank you for playing. Have a lovely
How about just not bring it up? By the way, we are very beautiful girls, just saying, inside and out. And a lot of people in our culture are. So get over it. It just is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I do want to go through some safety things that I learned about, Min. So I would love to hear your take on it. Okay, guys. So for the online dating safety thing, RAINN.org, RAINN.org, they have said that over 40 million Americans, so obviously it's an American site, but it's translated to everyone, uses dating apps and dating services. And there are steps that you can take to be safe, because we all know that's like the number one concern for, especially for women. So some of it I agree with, some of it I don't know. I want to hear your take on it. But they're saying when you're connecting online, and Min, you mentioned this earlier about connecting your social media, They say actually for your profile to use a different photo than what you have on social media, because it's easy to do a reverse image search on Google. And if your dating profile has the same photo on your Instagram or Facebook, it's easier for someone to find you and learn all about you, because they may not know your whole name.
Gosh,
But
I didn't even think of that. What's funny, I didn't even think of that. There is a group, and listen, ladies, I suggest you join your local cities group. There's a group called Are We Dating the Same Guy? I get a lot of, I don't know, happy pleasure sometimes in that group. Because it's a lot of women just protecting other women. But yeah,
you
they
post photos
talk about
and stuff.
yeah, and they also talk about how you shouldn't date this guy because he's got SA assault charges against him. And it can actually really help keep you safe. You're not allowed to comment on how good looking the guy. There's rules around each of the groups. You can't comment how good looking he is or whatever, but you can't. Yeah. So I suggest you join your local cities group, because if anything, it's a little entertaining. But I digress. But they say do reverse images all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, take another picture so they can't reverse image on social media.
Man, there are so many times I can look cute in a photo like that.
Man, you're gorgeous all the time. I could take a photo screenshot of you right now. And
but I like it's okay. So go on, no reverse images. But if I look good in a photo, I don't want just my dating apps to see. I'm the kind of girl I want everybody to see.
Maybe, Min, your online brand persona is different than your dating persona.
Yes.
They're not dating your professionalism, right? Anyway, I think the next one is what I said earlier, but the way they say it is avoid connecting with suspicious profiles. No duh, but what does that mean? If a person match with you and they have no bio, no linked social media accounts, which is funny because they basically tell you not to do that anyway. But if they don't have anything linked and they've only posted one picture, it could be a fake account. So just use caution when you're connecting with somebody with such little information. You know me, I told you 100 years ago when I was on my dating app, if no one had if you don't have a profile filled out, I don't care, because I took the time to do it and cared because I wanted to meet somebody, and you clearly don't care. Obviously it's a little different now, but back then that worked for me very well to weed out people. So I'm never going to be okay with somebody half-assing something like that anyway. That was what I told myself. I really wouldn't. And look, I ended up with somebody who I met online, and I was impressed by his grammar skills. I did come to find out his mom was an English honors teacher his whole life. That made sense. But the fact that he wrote a perfectly grammatically correct and I recognize it meant something to me. I should tell his mom. He got me with his grammar. Anyway, obviously they're saying if you see anyone suspicious, just block them or report them, because if you feel someone is suspicious or have acted inappropriately towards you, it's most likely they're doing it to somebody else, and it can be anonymous and they won't know you. With any personal interaction, people can misrepresent themselves. So just trust your instincts. I always say trust your instincts. I'm trying to follow my instincts more. Develop that skills, guys. So some of the things that you can know, and these are probably common sense things, but I'll just say it for people who are out there. Suspicious behavior, common stories that scammers use to build trust and sympathy. Yeah. Obviously, to manipulate you is asking for financial assistance in any way because they have a sudden personal crisis all of a sudden. Maybe they've been talking to you for a whole week and all of a sudden their mama got her leg broken. I don't know. They claim that they're
that either, though. You don't owe him anything if he's asking for money.
Just because you gave, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if he claims he's from the US or Canada or whatever country you're in, but then all of a sudden he's working abroad or living abroad, that's a scam.
Those are my favorite. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why this is a red flag, but they claim to recently be widowed with children, probably so you can get sympathy from the people who feel sympathy and they want to give you money, whatever. I don't know.
Again, in those groups, it's funny that you're saying that, because in the groups that I was just talking about, there's a lot of guys who come up in that group being like, yeah, he told me his wife was dead. Yeah.
Did you kill her?
Or he's a widow, she died of cancer, whatever that looked like. And then like his wife will chime in and be like, nope, he's happily married.
Oh,
they get funny. You guys, they get funny.
All right, maybe we should do an episode on that, some of those stories. But obviously to protect people, we have to be careful. But another thing that they can do is to disappear all of a sudden, and then they come back with another profile. guys. Suspicious. That means they were probably blocked. If you're asking specific questions, then they're answering very vaguely or like hedging their bets. That is a big red flag. Also, I think that's a red flag in life. If you have to remember what you're looking for. Are you looking for a hookup or are you looking for a relationship? Anyone who's doing that, they're not going to get better as time goes on. Let me tell you.
It's true.
If they're overly complimentary or romantic in their early communication with you, yes, we know you're hot, but you got to know them too. It's not just about them being flatterers.
Is this like after you meet them, or is like this during the?
This is during.
Okay, I don't really get a lot of compliments from men, so I'll.
I am shocked by that, but okay. I don't know what's going on in Canada. I think this is weird if they pressure you to provide your phone number or talk outside the dating app or site, but I feel like what's wrong with that? But I guess it depends on the pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm also, for me, this sounds so horrible. And I feel so bad for the guys who I matched with on dating apps and then I never get back to, because that does happen. I don't turn on my notifications at all. Like on any of the dating apps. So I literally have to go in the app to see who matched with me and who sent me a message. And if I've had a busy day, like I'm not going on the app. Like that's the last thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, it shouldn't
about.
run your life for sure.
It doesn't. So sometimes if we're about to go on a date or something and they ask for my number, even still then I'm a little hesitant. So that to me though is, I don't know. Okay, I get it. But
can I suggest something just from my expertise? Why don't you get a different number, like a Google phone number? It's free.
Thought about that. And I think I might. But then again,
you can text.
Just one more thing. I won't be.
You can text and call with it. And it's free.
Probably
don't give people your number, girl. Don't give people your number. If they request your home or work address to send flowers or gifts, girl, no. That's a hot no. Hot no. Send it to that P.O. box. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. Guys these days don't be wanting to send flowers. Let's be real. They tell
you can bring you flowers to the date from the date.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. They want your phone number and your address? Honey, no. Scams. Use disjointed language and grammar, but they claim to have a high level of education. Y'all know my husband got me because of his grammar, okay? All right then. But anyway, they're telling you these are some of the signs for people who are scammers. And obviously any behavior you want to report is anything. And this is 100% report it and block them. Anyone that requires financial assistance, anyone that requests photographs that you're not willing to give, anyone that's a minor, anyone that's sending harassive or offensive messages, attempts to threaten or intimidate you in any way, anyone that just even seems that they have a fake profile or tries to sell you a product or service, report. Yeah. So don't be sharing your personal info, guys. Also, obviously, this is a no-brainer: credit card information, bank information, but social security numbers, your home address. You don't want that out there. Dating sites never will send you an email asking you for any of this. Okay. So if you get a request for your login information, don't log on, delete it. No one will ever ask you or send you an email. That's a fake thing. And obviously anything for financial help. You're not there to give money to people. Don't do these dating scams. But the tips that I wanted to really get into was when you're starting to meet somebody in person. Okay. They're saying to consider scheduling a video chat with them before meeting with them in person. And I don't know. I feel like I don't like that. But I guess it depends on how close you got. I'm telling her to get a Google number.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do the video chat thing. What else they got?
Tell a friend where you're going, because
always
take a screenshot of your date's profile, send it to your friend, let at least one friend know where you are, where you plan to go on your date. And if you continue on to another place that you hadn't planned on, make sure you text your friend to tell them your new location. And it's also helpful to arrange a call or a text halfway through the date just to check in. And we just talked about that story. So I think it's important to do a check-in at the end as well.
Maybe the next day.
Girl.
Yeah. I also do the find my friends, or I share my Google location. And again, though, go to a place that you're going to be comfortable.
Go to a public place, first of all.
Oh my God, for sure.
Don't meet somebody at your home, your apartment. No. Okay. No. Oh, never your workplace. Park. Yo, when I was real young, one time I met somebody on the subway and I was going to work with my dog on a Saturday, and he ended up coming to work with me and hanging out with me at work. Legit. That was before online dating. I can't even tell you right now when I think back at it, and I'm like, why did I do that? But it also is in the middle of Manhattan. There are cameras everywhere. But bro, I literally went into work. I sat down, logged on, started doing work, and he's just hanging out. So weird. So weird. Take my number,
so
bro.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Coffee shops, restaurants, bars with people around.
You want lots and lots of people around. And listen, they're not going to really notice what you're doing or whatever, but you want lots of people around, because if something goes down and they see you stumbling or they notice some odd behavior, you don't know what people are actually noticing, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It actually, rain.org actually says to avoid meeting in public parks. I guess because it could be isolated pockets of places.
Exactly. That's why I said don't go to a park.
Don't go to a park. No. So even though a park is public and
doggy parks are not okay either, guys. There's not enough people there, and those doggy people will leave once their dog is done and overexerted. They'll leave. So don't go to don't do a doggy play date and do a doggy park.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Don't rely on your date for transportation. I think this is common sense. But there are still people out there that's with their parents or grandparents with pick me up this. Then don't let them know where you live. I don't care if you're meeting at the parking lot of wherever.
Yeah,
don't go in their car.
That's always a massive red flag when the guy's okay. I'll meet you at your place.
I also met a guy, and I'm like, and he picked me up. I did this one time a long time ago. I had a guy come to my apartment in Brooklyn. He lived in the Bronx. He came, drove, picked me up. We went to the zoo. Then he drove me back home. Never again. No. It was already awkward. It was too long of a date. Nah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
We don't need to do that in this day and age.
Lyft, Uber, anything.
And this is the other thing. Do not use his Uber account to get home.
Don't think that's romantic.
No. It's sweet that I'll order you an Uber. Yes, that sounds nice. That's not happening.
No. Just be gracious that he offered and move it on. Mm-hmm. It also says to make sure your phone is fully charged. Guys, don't run out of battery. Okay.
Amazon has the little portable things that you can bring too.
Get a portable thing. Bring your charger or a portable battery, 100%. Mm-hmm. Be safe. Okay. Stick to what you're most comfortable with. This is what you've been saying, Min. There's nothing wrong with having a few drinks, right? On a date. Yeah, know your limits. Stick to what you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. So another thing is to stick with what you're comfortable with, because you want to know your limits in terms of a drink. And you obviously, especially if they're buying you drinks, you want to maybe feel pressured to have more than you're used to. Don't do that. Just stick to what you're comfortable with. Obviously, I think this is a no-brainer, but I'll just say it anyway. If you take drugs or smoke drugs, maybe don't do that before the date, because it can alter your perception and of the reality and with the interactions with alcohol. Like, you probably do it in the past, but this is a stranger. Just don't do it. Just be comfortable, be safe, be with it. And Min, you mentioned this earlier. It's really important to enlist the help of your bartender or waiter, because they unfortunately are trained enough, or have seen a lot of these things, that they know what to do. It's not something they're supposed to do, but they do it for the safety of their customers. Mm-hmm. And obviously there are hand signals and things like that, but you can literally signal to them and they'll get it. Terrible situation for them to be in, but again, they see it all the time. So they can create a distraction. They can call the police for you. They can even get you a ride home and call the local taxi company or whatever. Yep. So I think the final tip, which we said it throughout, which is the theme, is to trust your instincts. You have to trust your instincts. If you feel uncomfortable and you don't know why, you don't need an explanation. You know that feeling. Just let it be. Just ride with it. Okay. Leave the date if you want. Cut off communication. Abruptly get up and walk away. And you know what? I know it's rude. And rain.org says it's rude too. But who cares? You want to be safe or you want to be rude? It's literally a matter of your safety. Obviously, if you felt uncomfortable in a date, when you go back home or you're on the cab ride home or whatever it is, unmatch, block them, report them, whatever you need to do if your sensors are up. Protect your mental state and your physical state. Just be your best friend. Be the best you by being your protector. And that is my and rain.org's final thing to avoid sexual assault and things like that on dates, and just being safe overall.
Yeah, definitely. Stay safe. Yeah, trust those instincts and make sure that you and to come in with your own set of boundaries, you guys. Be willing to be unshakable with those boundaries. Because if you don't want to go on coffee dates, don't go on coffee dates. If food is a must for you, cool, go and have some food. But definitely.
The way you said that, go and have some food.
Well, in my opinion, listen, again, this is my opinion. I just wouldn't have, especially on a first date, if I don't know you, having food with you scares me a little bit because now I'm stuck in a potential like hour and a half with you, and you may be annoying. And
you know what?
I don't want you to ruin my experience. I love
Annoying
my
is okay. But if you feel something's off with them and you're having food, guess what you could do? Get up and walk away. Don't.
Yes.
It's okay to be rude. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You'll never see them again. Block the crap out of them. That's all.
It's true.
Literally protect your own sanity in your own space.
Yeah.
I'm going to end it with this. I am glad I am not on the dating scene. I feel bad for everyone that is. It is rough out there. I hear the stories from my friends all the time, and it's, oh, guys, I don't even know what to say or do. And I wish that 40 million Americans, and obviously across the world, billions of people are on it. And it just sucks. This is the way people are dating now. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. We have to learn to be safe about it. I always go back to let's raise our children right so they don't have to be those creepers if we can. Men and women, okay? Because there are crazy girls out there.
You guys. It is.
Huh?
The world's a scary place.
It gets scarier every year and every generation. With more access, it gets scarier.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening to our Dating 101 tips and stories. And hopefully this helps one of you and you know that it's not you, it's them. And that's it for this episode of Woke and Pretty. And join us next time. And obviously make sure you follow us on all of our social media and subscribe to our channel on YouTube if you're a YouTuber. Listen to us on your podcast and share your favorite episode with your best friend. Please do. We'd love you for it. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
Remember, you're the heartbeat of our podcast. Your support, your comments, and your enthusiasm keeps us fired up and ready to bring you more pop culture goodness each week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment of action.
Connect with us on social media at Woke and Pretty Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
We're always thrilled to chat with fellow pop culture enthusiasts.
Until next time, keep riding those pop culture waves.
Stay in the know with current events, and most importantly, keep embracing your woke and pretty self. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. So, until we meet again, keep spreading the woke and pretty vibes.